Hello, hello, welcome in everyone, welcome. So as you know, I'm the Blue Light Oracle and we've made it halfway through 2025. Today for me is the 2nd of June. So today I wanted to do a reading for you with regards to a message from the light. Now you can interpret this as abstract as you want. Abstraction was really coming through, and it was reminding me of like how people feel connected to their guides, ancestors, God, source, ascended masters, deities, extraterrestrials, right? All that kind of stuff. And it was coming through like this is all an abstract idea of the same energy. We're all the same energy, even though we're formed very different, right? We're very different from different people around. However, we're all from the same source of energy, including everything around us. That's how it was coming through. So this was kind of my, I guess, vibe of getting into what's this reading really about. And it's a message from the light. So interpret that however you wish, because all of that is correct. How you interpret or see the world or feel the world out is correct to your experience, which is why we can shift and change it if we choose to. So it's an interesting little mind kind of like flow to understand the theme of this reading today. All right, so we'll grab some cards. Take that one. Okay. So we're doing 3 piles. You can choose whichever one or ones call to you. And these cards are the crystal mandala cards. Okay, pile number 1. You have the goddess Freya and Amber with the Untamed. This also has a number here, crystal goddess number 888. And there's your little amber stone. For pile number 2, you have the Archangel Ramiel and Argonite with Rest. This has the crystal angel number 444. And pile 3, you have the angel Kaliel and the polychrome jasper with sacred play, crystal angel number 444. So these will be the 3 piles. Take some time, pick whichever ones call to you, multiple. The description down below will have a link straight to your video and you can watch them as many times as you want. As I said, I'm in June the 2nd now, where I live in Australia. However, wherever you are and whatever time you watch this in the future, this will be a message for you at that point in time. Even if this is 2-3 years in the future, this is a message for you as you are accepting it into your life, basically. All right, well, I'll leave you to it and I will see you in your reading today. Hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. So your message from the light. You've chosen the only goddess that's come out today in the pick pile. So got goddess Freya with Amber and Untamed. So I was looking at Freya because I was kind of getting a mixture of similar to Odin or like the counterpart to Odin, and then there's also Frigg that's a counterpart to Odin or his wife, right? And so I looked up a few things and it does look like she does sometimes get lumped in with Frigg. But one part that really stood out was a story of half the souls that die in battle. This is going to Norse mythology, right? Or religion back in the day, I guess it would have been. Norse mythology. And half of them go to Odin, half of the battle, I guess, warriors go to Freya, which is kind of interesting because traditionally feminine figures aren't usually seen as associated with war, which she is exactly that. She's still associated with all the feminine generalization qualities when it comes to like goddesses with love, beauty, art, that kind of thing. But she's also got in there sex, war, and magic is a big one. And so what I got from that is being essentially yourself, untamed, unleash, right? Being completely, authentically you in a way that is of light, it feels like. It doesn't have to be forced upon anybody. It's just natural and flow. So that came through straight away. Untamed kind of matches that quite well. But I will grab some oracle cards and then we'll get into the complete reading. Got a few different decks that I haven't really used on YouTube readings for a while. So it's nice to get a bit of a mix. All right, let's have a look at your oracle cards. So you've got the Fool card coming through here. Definitely going on a journey, right? Unleashing this Untamed. This is about authenticity, going on a particular path. We'll see what else comes through, of course, but be very clear with this. Also, Amber does kind of feel like harmony and peace at home or within self, our own body, which is our home for our soul, right? In this time, you can look at it, like I said at the start of the reading, it can be very abstract, this reading. So really think less, maybe think less, just feel it out. You've got Ascension symptoms. This is kind of like when seasons change, right? It's not necessarily a negative thing happening. Sometimes it might be a good thing happening, or it's just a natural part of life. But we go through the adjustment of the new temperature, the new weather patterns. Ascension symptom is like rising up, but having to find your feet in this new place. If you move office, right, it's not like you can just assimilate straight into it. Maybe you can. Some people are very adaptable, but it takes a little while to settle. It's like, oh, I used to going this way to the bathroom, and now it's like in a different place because this is a different office. So there's something around there with the Ascension symptoms of adjusting. Oops, which way am I going? You've got stop doing, start being. Perfect way of putting it when I was talking about, actually I haven't seen this card either. This card hardly ever comes out. Stop doing, start being. This isn't about an action or something that you have to do in this life. You know, when we come here, we see these goals that we have to complete, right? And that kind of thing. And we translate that as humans into, I have to go to university and study this. I have to become this type of surgeon, doctor, whatever, you know, artist thing. I have to be a teacher and tell all the people of what I'm creating and all that kind of stuff. This is about being that, not exactly doing all that, not exactly going in and creating an ideal of what is the right life. This is just living freely. You will still do, but you don't have to force anything. You don't have to like push and push and push to get a particular goal that you believe is correct. This is about flowing with it and being part of it, a part of the story rather than anything else. So this untamed energy is natural. It's not a rampage. You've got the 3 faces of God. I'm going to have to read that one. Very nice rainbow hills in the background too, coming up for Pride Month. I don't know, I think that's nice. Yin and Yang. Balance. Balance is going to be super key this month, I feel. In 22, you've got card Wisdom. All right. Straight away, the message from the light is to relax with this energy that's coming through. We are ascending, essentially. You might have heard that with the planet's ascension, splitting of the planets, things like that. Just see it as an opportunity to flow in a direction that feels correct for this particular life, right? For this life that you're living. You can't be everything and all possibilities in life, and that's why we reincarnate, right? We come back to live. Maybe some people live in very similar lives to perfect or to see things from different angles, but eventually we'll all shift and change into different directions because that's expansion, right? That's real expansion. Instead of like a tunnel kind of like life after life after life, we're heading in a similar direction. Okay, I want to read this one. All right, this one is the path of light oracle. It says here, healing and self-mastery through the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. Three Faces of God kind of reminds me of the Trinity, right? That Christianity or Christ consciousness kind of talks about as well. Maybe some kind of similar but different way of explaining that as well. It says here, your life cycles through periods of expansion and contraction and equilibrium. Be aware of the phase you are currently in so that you can act appropriately. Train yourself to look deeply into circumstances of your life to identify all sides of what is occurring. For there is always more going on than there appears on the surface. From the Bhagavad Gita 13:16, it says, it is the creator, preserver, and destroyer of all existence. So it's kind of like talking to seeing one where you're at, right? Being aware of how you're transforming or changing at this time, because the more you're aware of where you're at, the more you can help yourself, basically. And I'll read the wisdom card, kind of clear, right? It's about gaining knowledge through casting like a net, I guess, in the right area and seeing what comes back and what you learn from that experience. That's kind of like how it's feeling. But let's have a look at what the wisdom card says in this book. All right, so wisdom, it says, avidya, ignorance, is like a shroud that covers our light. It is an antidote. As an antidote, fill your mind with the wisdom teachings of the masters and aim to follow their example on how to live well and connect with the true wise self within. So it's connecting with that like God self, right? It's being aware of where you're at, who you are, and how you can unleash that truth into this world, how you can go on a journey, right? Even here, this is depicted as like Lil Nas X. You know, with his music, it was controversial to some people, but it was very expressive regardless of what you kind of felt about his music. Okay, so looks like a really good time for you, basically. This is about understanding who you are from a point of truth rather than proving who you are from a egoic mind or from just the mental space. I guess it's that saying, know thyself, right? Okay, so let's have a look at what else do your cards want to tell you. This is the Modern Love Tarot. Usually I use this for like relationship readings, but just like anything, nothing is fixed on a particular set way of seeing things, right? Okay. So first card, you've got the Chariot. It's nice being right next to here because it's like the more you understand about yourself, the more you are very clear on where your light is. No, this is a message from the light, but it doesn't mean that it ignores your shadows or your challenges, right? Or whatever you're going through at this time or whatever you've gone through in the past. This is about acknowledgement, and still, with all that being said, being able to move or flow with the energy in the direction that feels correct to you. This is all about, this whole reading is about flowing in the direction that's right for you. It's kind of like the theme. Got the Four of Pentacles. This does feel positive in the sense of understanding where your mind's at, especially if you're holding on to baggage as well, or old stories. Right here, this person's kind of almost like, who are they talking to on their phone? Why aren't they acknowledging me? Or why aren't they focusing on me? What's going on here? That could be like a very clear like story, right? And some people will justify this person or whatever, but it doesn't matter about what an external think about what's going on here. This is about, why is this person feeling like that? What is this about? Where does this stem from? Understanding that about this person, or if you're that person, right, from interpersonal kind of like understanding, not from an external understanding. It's just like, what is this really about to me? Why do I feel that I need to be cautious or protective or whatever? And we can make up a billion stories, but what is the truth? What is the real truth of that? Not to blame anyone else, just to experience and understand. The more you understand, the more wisdom you gain, basically. And then when you start doing, you are being, because they're in a cohesive link. They're not separate from each other. Got the World card. Really interesting with the Fool and the World card. And you also have the Page of Swords. Kind of interesting here too with this Jolly Roger, right? Kind of feels like pirates or something. Like this is a sneaky kind of energy. And it does link up with here. So there might be some kind of like challenging feelings or dark feelings. And you might have thought, great, with the Untamed, I just unleash and I attack. This isn't about attacking. This is about understanding, comprehending, and then finding a way to authentically bring that through, basically. For example, what could it be an example? I guess since we've grabbed the relationship kind of cards or the Modern Love Tarot, it's like when you have a difficult relationship, right? And then 10 years down the track, you're in a new one because that one ended like a year or 2 or 3 ago, or whatever. There's still going to be pains, right, from whatever happened, and we could blame yourself, you could blame the other person. Doesn't really matter about blame. It's not really going to get us anywhere. So the real situation that could happen is you argue about something and it's got nothing to do with actually what's happening. It's because it's from an old fear, right? It's kind of like, why are you talking to someone else on the phone? Or why are you texting someone else? I'm right here type thing, right? Meaning I should be the source of all your entertainment. Now, where does that come from? What is that about? What kind of sneaky energy is taking over, right? Is what is it? What is it when a pirate takes over another ship? I don't know. I guess like pillaging, right? Pillaging the ship, pillaging it of its resources. You don't want to be pillaged by an old belief or anything like that. That's where might be very specific for some people. You're in a process of kind of like endings and beginnings. That's never an easy time, right? Ascension symptoms, it can be kind of difficult. If you've gone through like certain awakenings or understandings, or even if you put it into a very human term of being a relationship ending, when you're in amongst it, it can be the most difficult times of your life, right? Or even the symptoms, like I said here with Ascension, it's like, oh, your mind expands very quickly. So it's like, you can't think you're going crazy and that kind of thing. So that's where this is coming from. It's like, if things are shaking up at the moment, that's going to be for a purpose. There's no randomness to it. It's like there's a reason why something's shaking up. Maybe it needs to be looked at, maybe it needs to be released, maybe it needs to be sustained, with the three-faced God being right in the middle. But you're here at this time with the light, learning and growing and understanding, comprehending. The more you know about yourself, the more you can align authentically with who you are and express that in your life from today onwards. I do want to read the Page of Swords. For some reason, there's something in here for someone. So take it or leave it. But I'm going to read this one. It's just something here. So the Page of Swords represents communication, ideas, and questions, which is a nice message for the whole thing, right? Question, understanding yourself. You're not questioning to judge or criticize yourself. You're just questioning to learn or understand more about you. But it says here, expect news for yourself or the ones you love. There may be something you've been waiting to hear about, and this is a sign you've been waiting for. Communication is vital for all relationships to thrive. So be very mindful of what and how you communicate with those around you. So it's being just aware. Like, that's it. Awareness is really important with this reading today. Okay, I think that's it. Basically, if you wanted to just sum it up in a very quick kind of sentences, to understand where you're at, understand what around you is happening, and coming into yourself, or that's not the best way of putting it, but going within to really understand how you feel, where does it come from, why do certain events make you or help you feel in certain ways. Because the more you understand about yourself, the better you are at knowing what's going to be right for you. Where is the best direction for you at this time? Is it changing something? Is it sustaining something? Is it just leaving things and resting, right? Just letting things go. That is going to be your, I guess, I don't want to say homework, but it's going to be your job, or maybe your task this month. Maybe even for a day or two, if you are aware of what this is about. But nothing here is saying anything is going wrong. Certain things might be changing in your life or not working because they need to be reviewed and released, pushed forward, or whatever. You're going to be the one who decides that. But there's no point being critical or pushing it outwards of yourself. This is about clear communication, right, with this card, to yourself as well as to others. It's very, very important. Okay, I'm going to leave that one there. Your message from the light's really interesting. It is a mixture of authenticity, comprehension of self, growth, and endings and beginnings. So I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for letting me read for you today, pile number 1. Look after yourself, be kind, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, welcome to your reading today, pile number 2. So, you've chosen one of the 2 angels that came out. I also got called to grab a different deck from the first pile. This is the Angel Fire Oracle. You've got Archangel Remiel with Argonite and Rest. Card 444. Card actual number 2, but the crystal card is 444. Okay, interesting one to come through. I say that because we're getting a message from the light, right? And you've picked an archangel, which is sometimes depicted, just depends on which denomination, which kind of belief system, etc., etc. That is known as like a fallen angel. And I've also seen depicted as an angel of time. So like, as time goes on, that kind of thing. So it's interesting with Rest. And with Rest, I get like an imagery of not just sleeping or anything like that, but kind of like, I guess the you know how there's an idea of heaven and hell, which is like very black and white, right? You're either good or bad. When you pass, you go into either or, and one's good and one's terrible, and too bad, right? This is kind of like falling, let's say, or going down into a challenge, or like getting, like in a human term, getting put in jail, and having that time to think about the consequences of what you've done, where you're at, and maybe how this environment works and has changed. So this rest is like an opportunity to sit and reflect and not just detach or disconnect from some stuff for a while, but just like a space to breathe and feel it all out. So it's an interesting card in that sense, because we're talking about the light, a message from the light. And in my own personal kind of like belief, I couldn't see an afterlife being so black and white, right? Going into one space, let's say it is, go into one space, there has to be a path forward or path up, because why would we be judged by one action and that's it for the rest of what eternity? Seems kind of like a poor system. There's no growth, there's no purpose to growth if that's the case. And I can't see that as being very expensive, right? But we'll see what comes through in your reading today, pile 2. I'll move these in the middle more. I'm just going to put some tarot cards over the top of these oracle cards today, because there's just a lot of cards, actually. These cards are a bit shiny, so I'm going to put them there. All right. Maybe I will move them over a bit. Okay, so message from the light today. Message from the light. Like I said at the start, you can see this as God, Goddess, angels, deities, whatever you believe in, right? Which is whatever. Whatever is your interpretation of light. Oh, this one came out really quick. Let's move these over a little bit. Okay, and here's the tarot cards. I'll grab them once they're ready. Okay. So you've got the unknown. You can kind of see here too, this like, I guess, little red child is kind of like sitting down and is wondering, well, now what? What's the next step? The door's open, but I'm not ready to go through and start this journey. It's almost like making me think of like at the start of a video game when it's like, okay, what do I do now? There's this popping up, this is popping up, this popping up, and you're still creating the character, right? Or you're still kind of like just thinking, it's not like you're paralyzed, but it's just like you're waiting. Well, this is a good time to sit and decide how you want to develop this character. You might be at a crossroads with your own soul's journey or something like that. We'll see. But the unknown is the unknown. You don't know what is unknown, right? So that's why you go and discover it. I was watching someone who uploads weekly on YouTube, and he's bought a house in like the countryside in Scotland, and he's doing it up. It's pretty run down, and he's like planting and building and creating stuff, and he has like, I think he has pretty limited skills, but he's doing it anyway, and he's learning through mistakes. And that's where this is coming in. It's okay to make mistakes, right? If you learn from it and grow from it, then you do more than just sitting and doing what's expected or what's easy or what's just natural, right? This is kind of like a good opportunity to reassess. You've got Jophiel coming through. Jophiel transformation here with these butterflies, these blue butterflies. And she is the angel of joy and beauty, right? Also wisdom as well. Sometimes she'll be depicted like that. But Jophiel here coming through, this is about what brings you joy. This is about, sometimes maybe even hitting rock bottom. And that gives us an opportunity that we know that the only way is up from here. And if not, then we're still in the mental rock bottom, right? So it's like acceptance of where we're at so we can move forward. Shamuel as well. Very high feminine energy here. Shamuel is the angel. I'm not too sure what she comes up as, but I usually see her of like the heart chakra, the higher heart chakra, the heart space. I guess the real essence of love, not just the romantic side of it, like yes, that, but far more expansive, right? What brings us joy, what we're actually called to do. It's like certain things are being broken down around us, and you might see that in your real world, like some of the paths that you thought were going to be open and you were going to go on are being dismantled or being blown up or destroyed. And so now it's like, well, that's what I thought was the right. So what is this trying to tell me? It wants you to reassess for some reason and purpose, right? To follow bliss, follow joy, follow your heart, even if it's unknown. So you could be going through big changes, it feels like, big transformations. You've got wisdom. This card came out in pile number 1 as well. So if you're called to that, check that out. Wisdom, I can't remember what the actual words from the book were saying. I did read the book. But from memory, even though it was like a little while ago, but from memory with the wisdom card, this is, not just about having the knowledge, this is to gain the knowledge and store it in as growth. That's why, when we do something really challenging, we learn more from it than doing something really easy. We still learn either way, but you learn more through your difficulties rather than through the things that you expected to happen, right? Things that you don't expect to happen are the things where you really learn. So wisdom coming through here, make sure you're gaining it and not ignorant of it. You've got surrender, so you're really getting like this sign of letting go, right? The rest card is to just slow down or completely stop, depending on what you're doing. I remember doing a reading for someone a long time ago where a card came through which was like, stop, you need to rest, otherwise you'll be kind of put to rest. And then the next fortnight, I think they got COVID. This was a while ago, but obviously not that long ago, within the last 5 years. And then they got COVID, and then they wanted another reading, and I was like, oh, do you remember the last reading? It said to like slow down, otherwise they'd get put down. And they were like, no, it's because they weren't listening. They were too like, go, 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 go. And that's fine, right? The message comes through. What we do with it's up to us. If you don't take the message in and review it and, leave it sometimes, or check how that might be true in your life because you've already made a decision, then, you kind of get what you get. But it was kind of interesting in that sense, and then they forgot about it. So it's like, well, But that's where the surrender is. Surrender is not being like, okay, this world is terrible, I'm just gonna like disconnect. This isn't disengaging. Surrendering is stopping, reviewing, checking, and then deciding what needs to be let go of. You've got presence. Nice. I mean, a very clear card of being connected with yourself, being aware of who you are and why you are and where you're at and why you're where you're at. Like, this is why you're resting and taking some time to consider. You're being guided. You got this big blue block, right, in the background, kind of like a spirit guide, standing in the way where there's no turning back, but not nudging you forward. That's you deciding to move forward, but there's no turning back. The past is the past. You can't go back into it. So, being very aware of where you're at now. You also have heart flower, really nice imagery here too, with this like mirrored image of these two people. And this is like a blossoming, right? A rebirth for you, an opportunity to reinvent yourself, reclaim your own sovereignty, something like that. So there's a lot of very heartfelt, high passionate connecting with the real you cards coming through. And you've been given a huge amount of time, potentially this whole month. You might have that. One astrological change that popped up, this is in sidereal, but was Venus going into Aries. And so, that is occurring at this time from pretty much the 1st of this year. No, sorry, 1st of this month till the end of this month, I think around the 28th or something. And, even if it's not exactly that, it's pretty much the entire month, roughly. So, that is touching on our connection relationships. Aries is, ruled by Mars, very fiery, right? Very feisty, very masculine. Venus, very feminine. It kind of pulls up some contradictions, I guess, which could be why this reading is coming through too. It just popped up in my head, so I thought I'd mention it. But as always, take it or leave it. Well, talking about relationships, we got the Two of Cups coming through. Finding resonant with the people that resonate, not the people that you feel like will help you get higher or into a better position. If they're not ones of integrity, then disconnect from that. It's not worth your soul's energy in this lifetime. Okay, I'm going to take all these three actually. I couldn't pick which one, so I'll take them all. Okay, but connections, relationships, very, very strong here. You've got these like lovebird type energy here. That's a love seat. And obviously these two are most likely a couple or very, very, very close, right? And they have grown old together, or they're in their retirement years, twilight years, I think it's the saying is. So it's very, very strong with connections, relationships. You could even see it with your relationship with yourself as well, with your heart, with your soul. All that's coming through. This light message is really harking into a time of retreat or rest. And when I say retreat, I don't mean like running away from battle. I mean going to like a resort or something, but internally, and deciding what you do from here, how you feel, what is your goals over the next few weeks or months. Got the Moon card. I mean, this is just preaching to the choir at the moment with these cards. Sometimes this is a card of illusions, but it doesn't really feel like that, especially with her having transparent clothes, right? It's going within, seeing the real self, not just the external makeup, hair, clothes, skin, right? This is like the real essence of who you are. You've got the Three of Swords as well. If there's any heartbreak or anything that's kind of transpired in the past, this could be a good opportunity to let go of some of that energy as well. Some of the difficulties, something that, crushed, or a situation that hurt. It could be like a loss of a loved one, in a, death, rebirth, that kind of thing. It could be a relationship that didn't work out. It could be a difficult person at work that's kind of like destroyed like your reputation or something like that. It's those kind of difficulties. And it's not saying that this is going to be your forever. It is a good time to pull the swords out and move forward, right? And let the wounds heal. Speaking of, interesting that you've got the Two of Swords here and the Two of Cups here. Kind of different, right? Connection and this. I mean, this is very modern. People on their phones in bed. I mean, I think we all kind of do that, unless you have rules or something like that where you don't get on your phone. Fair enough, you don't need to. But there's this like decision making on what the next move is. You know, this little guy here is really considering it. He's even taken off his shoes because he's like, I know I'm not going to walk forward yet, so I may as well be comfortable on this path and consider what's right next. Even if I don't know, I have to come to terms with that. I don't know what the future holds, right? And I won't know, so I need to maybe just get to a point of acceptance of that whatever's coming through is going to be new for me. But I love that the moon card is here with these two because they're very internal. You know, Jophiel with beauty, I see sometimes on certain frequencies, right, on YouTube, like they'll have music and frequencies and stuff, and people are asking, you know, can you heal this because I want to look prettier or that or whatever, can you fix my nose or this? And you know, they're not really, I mean, I don't think there's any right or wrong way of working with the energy of angels or things like that, but I see beauty as seeing the silver lining in a difficult situation or choice. Like losing a house would never be great, but if you've got insurance and they pay out, then you get to rebuild your dream, right, of something that you may not have ever done because you were like, it's easier to just leave it as it is. And so, you know, that could be it. It could be many different things, but that's what's coming through, that kind of vibe. And Shemuel is really about the heart. You've even got little doves here, which is about peace and harmony. I would say from the light, your life doesn't have to be complicated or difficult or have a huge amount of strain and stress. And so if you're feeling that that's what's happening or that's a lot of life, this is a good time to take a break. Take a break from certain people, aspects, as much as you can, right? You can't do it all the time, but giving yourself at least like 10-15 minutes a day of you time will help you with whatever this is calling to, because light just wants you to be you with this card coming through. I'm going to read this one. I'm going to read that one and then I'll finish your reading up, pile 2. But the heart flower says, how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. So that again, how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you. It's a nice message. Your affirmation is, I accept and unconditionally love every facet of myself. Yeah, this is all about you. This reading is really about your relationship, feelings towards self, and trust in the path that you walk. So this is a great message for getting the rest card because you're given a huge amount of time to allow this to sink in and consider, you know, what is going to bring me fulfillment in this life from here onwards. Okay. Well, that's your reading, pile number 2. I'm going to leave this here. I hope this has really helped you. If it has, feel free to comment, like. You know, this reading as a big kind of summary is just about reflecting on yourself and looking at yourself in a real way, in a positive, heartfelt way, seeing the love and light within you and what you can do with that and what you can, what path you can create moving forward. That's going to be your decision. So with that, I leave you there. Thank you very much for letting me read for you. Take care of yourself, be kind, and I'll see you next time. Hello, welcome to your reading, pile number 3. So you've chosen one of the angel cards. This is Angel Kaliel. So I looked up Kaliel, never heard of this angel, but from what they explain, it's like an angel of justice, but more in the terms of discernment, right? Instead of divine justice being kind of dished out, you know, which sometimes can be a bit violent or wild, but this is about discerning what is right and wrong. What is right for me might be different from what's right for you, right? So this is really about discerning what is right for you in this time. The really nice thing here is sacred play, and it feels like this isn't about overly serious or doing like worried about picking the right or wrong thing. If you are in that energy, this is just a card to remind you you don't have to sit or live in that energy. You're here to enjoy the 3D as much as you can, right? And in times where you can, in moments, because our lives are snapshots and moments. Some of the time we're not doing too much, some of the time we're cleansing, releasing, sometimes we're having fun, sometimes we're mourning and like feeling like loss, right? So it's all part of the experience. Okay, let's grab some oracle cards for you and then we'll get into your message. I'll grab these first. Okay. Take this one. At the start of your reading, there's a song, because I'm listening to music while I do this. For some reason, music actually kind of helps me anyway. But the song that was playing was Feel Good, Inc. by Monkeys, right? Was it Monkeys? I can't remember what it's called. Not the Monkeys, but like Gorillas. Oh god, I knew it was some kind of primate. Anyway, Gorillas, but it wasn't actually them playing it. It's like just a cover. But anyway, that Feel Good. It's kind of interesting, right? I remember when it came out, I was a kid, but just the imagery of it, like the cartoon kind of imagery of it, just sitting there and kind of like singing, but like there was something like the missing, like it felt like there was a lack of something. Not so much in the music or the song, but was it like melancholy? Is that what I was kind of gauging from the energy? But anyway, that feel good. It's like getting back into what is really your energy, your truth could be coming through. Okay. That one kind of, yeah, I'll take this one. This one jumped at me, so I'll grab it since it's so eager. All right, let's take a look at your oracle cards. You have Ready to Roll, Loyalty, and Devotion. This is nice because this could be a group of people or your team, right? Or the people around you that bring fun. Sacred Play, this is a little bike, a unicycle kind of like group that hang out and just kind of like go around, right? Just like explore and do things. But Ready to Roll, it's time to go forward, to like move in a particular direction. We'll see what comes through. You also have Christiel. This is a card of peace. And you're right next to this angel, right? So it's really feeling like balance, choosing what's right for you, not what you think is right that's going to be the right thing. It's like what feels right, what naturally, organically feels correct, and owning that. Can't blame anyone if you make your own decisions, right? So this is like owning that choice. You also have Jophiel. Jophiel came out in pile 2 as well, so if you're interested in looking at that, have a look at that. But again, this aligns with the Sacred Play. Jophiel is about joyfulness, beauty, like seeing the benefit in the difficult situations, like silver linings and that kind of thing, seeing the beauty in all things, right? We walk through parks sometimes, and we're just so busy trying to get to the other side, we don't see the butterfly that flew past, we don't see the caterpillar on the plant that's eating its food so it can turn into the butterfly, all that kind of stuff. I say that because there's a lot of blue butterflies here, which represent transformation and change as well. This is like, I don't know if it's like a big change, but an opportunity to go into a new direction. Rise above. Yeah, hard thing to do sometimes, especially with social media and a lot of content that comes out. Back in the day, it would have been much easier to control the masses, right, with news, because it was all through newspapers, sometimes word of mouth. But now there's a lot of information, and some of it is even worse than probably what was written back in the day. But at least now there's a lot of opportunity for truth to come out as well. And that rising above is not to get stuck into it or even go, is this one the right one? Is that one the right one? Feel it out. You don't have to play down in the mud. This is not a mud playing time for you. This is a ascension, essentially. That's where the shift and change was coming from. It's like a growth. Yeah, empowerment. I mean, I don't have to say too much about empowerment. Really nice for you, though. This one also came out in pile 1, I believe. So you might be interested in looking at all the piles, but only do that if you feel called to. Don't do it because it's said in this reading. But the 3 faces of God, this is also seen as kind of like a similar idea of the Holy Trinity, because we've also got Jesus, which sometimes gets lumped in with the Holy Trinity, right? The 3 faces of God. There's something I want to read from the book with that one before I continue. I'm going to read the short message that's in here. It says here, your life cycles through periods of expansion, contraction, equilibrium, talking about the balance. Be aware of the phases you are currently in so that you can act appropriately. Train yourself to look deeply into the circumstances of your life to identify all sides of what's occurring, for there is always more going on than there appears to be on the surface. Isn't that true? I was talking about the news and that kind of stuff, and pulls you in different directions depending on which one you subscribe to. But there's lots of people out there that are sharing all sorts of different information, right? Some of it's going to be helpful, some of it's not. You can really trust in yourself whether it feels resonant. Sometimes you could see it as like just entertainment, but as long as you're being entertained, that's fine. If you're seeing it as like, this is truth, maybe get a second opinion or look at it, unless it feels really resonant for you, because even if it's not true, it's going to lead you on a path that opens up something, right? And you have Beyond Pleasure. I do want to read this one too. Got kind of the inverted numbers here. You got 32 up top and then 23 at the bottom. So a lot of like synchronistic numbers, right? 15, 15, 23, 32, 33, as a number, just like the duplicate. So there's just, I don't know, there's a lot of like synchronistic numbers in your message today. All right, Beyond Pleasure. So Beyond Pleasure says, you should enjoy the material world and all that it has to offer, while ensuring that through meditation, you do not become habituated or reliant upon it, for such things can only provide momentary satisfaction. Remember that the only thing that can provide lasting fulfillment and nourishment is communion with the soul. So it's definitely like, it's definitely talking to, a love of the 3D, or being able to enjoy the earthly pleasures and having fun here. And it's telling you how to do it. We're trained to believe like more rooms in a house, more updated appliances, more food that is expensive, right, is like actually what's going to fulfill us, or like having kids or having a family or whatever your kind of like cultural expectations are wherever you are in the world. But this is talking to finding really fulfillment by connecting with the true essence of yourself, because that's going to be what guides you in the direction that feels right. Okay, let's grab some tarot cards, see the deeper message of this light reading. Okay, I'm going to take these since they're popping up. All right, easy 4 cards. There's a lot of synchronicities with all the piles too. They may be touching on slightly different things, but they're all speaking to the same drum, if that makes sense. You've got the Moon card coming out. This is an inside job. Light and love is an inside job. It's not given to you externally. It can be, of course. However, there was that, what was that card where it said how you I don't know if it's in this pile, but it just popped up in my head, so I'll read it from my mind, is how you love yourself is how you teach others to love you, that kind of thing. So how do you feel about yourself? If you're like really negative towards yourself, or some people are, right, you can see that they don't have an expectation of others to love them, and then they can be taken advantage of by people who don't have a high morals, right, or something like that. So this is a good time to reflect internally on how you feel, making decisions as well. Like, remember, you got the ready to roll. This is time to like move forward on some of your plans. Yep, Knight of Wands speaks to that as well. Momentum, moving forward, going forward in life with passion and love in your heart. Not about all the BS people, right? Don't focus on toxic individuals, right? Like, I don't know, there might be a writer or someone who writes really horrible stuff, or writes great stuff, but has a really shitty ideology, and and is trying to destroy certain types of people, or world leaders, right? If they're toxic, don't engage with it 24/7, or even engage with it much if you can. Be aware that it's there and that's happening, but that doesn't have to dictate or rule your life. Yeah, balance. I love that the balancing kind of card, it's like decision, right? Sometimes it's time to get serious, and sometimes it's time to have fun. Where are you at the moment? You've got the sacred, what is it? Sacred play. You also had sacred pleasure, right? Beyond pleasure. So there's like a lot of letting yourself just have some fun, enjoy, just because things are dark and from certain lenses, right? There's wars and that kind of stuff going on. This isn't about ignoring it, but it's recognizing that this isn't happening for everybody everywhere all at once. This is a pocket or a section for people, and we can do what we can do, but that doesn't mean we should give up our own peace and happiness because it's not harmonious in all aspects or spaces in this entire world. That's never going to really happen unless we aren't told about or ignore it, right? So it's good to be aware, but it doesn't have to consume our life. So find like a balance of what's going to bring you joy, what's going to be authentically true to you, and what's going to help open your heart here, and allow yourself to be peaceful and harmonious within yourself as well, because you're allowed to, but no one can force you to be kind to yourself, right? You have to get there yourself. There's lots of tools and people who can assist, but ultimately we're the deciders. Again, usual saying that I say every kind of reading is leading a horse to water, but can't force it to drink. That's same with ourselves. We can lead ourselves to the water, but then we could be fearful of like what's in the water, could be poison. Even if we can see that there's nothing there, we have tested everything, it's all perfectly safe, we still can we can still make decisions off fear, and that's something to let go of. Don't believe I have anything else to say. This is kind of like a multifaceted reading. It does feel like taking steps to improve your life is where the light is coming from, to release control over anyone else or having control over you. And you'll think, well, no one controls me, I make my own decisions. But subtle influences can come from TV shows and programs and news, especially like toxic news, horrible comments written on pages, right? All that kind of stuff can really impact us. And so you don't need to let it become you. But before I do go, I do want to grab you just one more card. I haven't grabbed one of these for any other pile, but I just feel like this one needs just one little bump message, and then I'll let you go. Ooh, okay. Right. Got love. This is what's really important. Love to the moon and back. That's it, right? It's like that heart-centered space. The love you have for yourself, the love that you have for others. Unconditional love, real unconditional love. Not expectation / slightly unconditional love. It's either conditional or it's unconditional. So have that love for yourself. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today, pile number 3. Look after yourself, be kind, and I'll see you next time.